Good afternoon and welcome to From the Wings. I'm Stephanie Freed and I'm delighted to have you with us here this afternoon. We hope you've been enjoying this new series. As a reminder, From the Wings comes to you live every other week on Thursdays at 12 noon. And we take you behind the scenes of the Bushnell to look at different pieces and stories and the people of the Bushnell. Personally, I know I've really enjoyed having this opportunity to share this time with you these past several weeks. We, the whole staff, all of us, really deeply miss having you with us. We miss our volunteers. We miss the shows on our stages. We miss our stagehands backstage, making all that theatrical magic happen seamlessly. And we miss our patrons. The sound of your voices in our halls inspire us, and we really just can't wait to have you back. Before we get to today's topic and guests, which I'm very excited about, I wanted to share with you a fun project that we're working on and that I'm hoping you can each help us out with. So we're going to do a project called Pass the Prompter. This is the time of year we would normally be working toward and gearing up for the kickoff of our season. So of course, we're thinking about Broadway. We're thinking about the shows we love, the seasons we've had. And this project sort of leverages that. We thought it would be fun if we could ask each of you to join us as we pass the prompter, using prompters from Bushnell shows you've seen. If you don't have a Bushnell prompter at home with you, but you have one from New York, from a show that you particularly love, feel free to use that one. But it's a chance for us to all kind of celebrate our shared love of Broadway. We have shared information about this on our social channels, Facebook, Instagram. It'll also be in our Friday curtain call email. And we've created a little video to kind of visually explain the concept to you. So if we could go ahead and roll that video, please. Super fun, right? So get those prompters out, film it. You can use your iPhone. It's no problem. Use your iPhone, your iPad, whatever device you have to get us that photo, or sorry, that video. But let's get on to today's episode. Today, we're going to talk about our Bushnell Young Professionals Program. We call it the BYP. And this program is designed to engage patrons, let's say under the age of 45, although I'm a cusper of the BYP. I still want to be involved. But our Bushnell Young Professionals Program, like I said, it's designed to engage patrons, donors up to age 45 with the Bushnell. And here to join me for that conversation is our very own Patrick Langevin. He's our individual giving liaison. Hello, Patrick, as well as Nick Sheridan, who is a BYP advisory committee member. He's also an advisor at Lindbergh and Ripple. Welcome, Nick and Patrick.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, I'm super jazzed to be with you guys today. BYP is such an exciting program, and I look forward to our conversation about it. Before we get to that, I'd like to introduce you guys a little bit to those watching to sort of fill them in on who you are and from where your perspective comes. So Patrick, tell us a little bit about your path to the Bushnell.
Sure. So the Cliff Notes version is definitely, so I actually grew up in the area. I went to the Greater Hartford Academy of Performing Arts right in Hartford. So I grew up going to the Bushnell. But after college, I moved to New York City, where I worked for United Scenic Artists. So the labor union that represents set, lighting, costume, sound, and projection designers for Broadway, off-Broadway, and film and television. So one of the perks of that job was being able to be a Tony voter and see over 480 Broadway shows. So for me, it was this great opportunity, this childhood dream to have this experience and to be exposed to the Broadway industry. So it was great to come back to Connecticut 5 years ago almost and be able to find this job at the Bushnell and to be a part of our incredible team.
480 shows. There must have been like a plaque with your name on it in every theater, like officially Patrick's seat.
Well, when you were talking about the prompters, I was like, oh God, I have like boxes of boxes. So I'll have to like break out a few prompters for this video.
You should just like keep passing them.
Yeah, right.
Terrific. And I'm so glad you're with us. And, you talk about the good fortune you had to have this job, find this job with the Bushnell. I would say that it was our good fortune as well, because you've really been a significant part of the work we've done, engaging lots of populations, but specifically our young professional populations. And that's where you come in, Nick. Nick, tell us a little bit about sort of who you are, and then your path to getting involved or having an interest in being involved with the Bushnell.
Sure. So, I mean, short answer was obviously Patrick's sparkling personality that got me involved.
Indeed. Yes.
So for me, I've grown up in Connecticut my whole life. I grew up in Ellington. My wife and I now live in West Hartford. So we've kind of always been in the area. And it was a couple of things I was looking for at a certain point in my career. I really wanted to find a way to engage with my community more.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I wanted to do so kind of with a mix of people from different careers, backgrounds, but kind of in that similar age range as myself. And having been in the area, I've gone to shows with my family as a kid, but have never really been what I would call a theater goer. Okay. So I wanted to get back and do something different and fun. And this was kind of that perfect mix of both of those things.
Got you. Yeah. I think, at different stages of our life, right, we're looking for different things in our social circles, in our entertainment circles. And it sounds to me like BYP might have helped meet kind of multiple needs in one package. Right. Patrick, tell me a little bit about the genesis of BYP. What compelled you to begin it? Maybe be a little more elaborative than I was in terms of who's it geared to. Tell us a little bit more.
Sure. So, when I first started at the Bushnell, I felt like there was this opportunity to engage with a younger demographic at the Bushnell. We have such a wide array of programming that I think a lot of people in the community aren't necessarily aware of. So, and in addition to that, Greater Hartford has so much going on that a lot of people don't necessarily know about. So I thought here's this great opportunity. Let's engage this younger demographic, give them an opportunity to not only be entertained and engaged at the Bushnell, but also to play a role in the community, to network with each other and build their careers alongside each other as they're building their story to the Bushnell as well.
Sure. And Nick, what was it about that concept that was compelling to you? Why did you plug in?
Yeah, the Bushnell's always kind of been it's a staple of Hartford, right? And it's it's in our backyard, no matter which town we live in, given that our state is so small. It's a small community, but just in seeing, and I joined the newsletter, I started seeing the things that were going on, talking to Patrick and talking to a few people who had been members, because I had joined just shortly after it had started. And it's really that next generation, like Patrick's saying, it's the next generation of the steps to being a member of the Bushnell, and we do it in a very fun and laid back way, and it's just been a great experience.
Something you said when you were kind of introducing yourself and your engagement, you mentioned you weren't really a big theater goer, and it's interesting to me when I think about this. Imagine the spectrum, right, of person, somebody who is a Patrick, who has seats named after him in New York. I'm going to spread that rumor. Like, that's totally a rumor now.
Go for it.
So Patrick, 480 shows, under his belt on Broadway that he's seen, and you who'd come to the theater, but you weren't at 480 shows. I think it's interesting that BYP is really for everybody within that spectrum.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. So because we are at the Bushnell centered around entertainment, and a big piece of entertainment for us is of course Broadway, but there's more. There's comedy. We have the symphony, the Connecticut Forum. We have one-nighter performances. Different music, dance, lots of different things. But tell me a little bit, and either of you, how does BYP engage? There are these entertainment experiences, but it's not just buy a ticket to an event. Like how do you bring people together to engage? Now look
Sure.
at the logo.
Yeah, I can jump in. Yeah, that's that beautiful logo that was created by Pam Howard. But yeah, so one of the things, there's some pictures here from even our initial event, which was a backstage event, which was great. We had the Savoy pizza truck in our loading dock, and we were sort of behind the scenes looking out at the theater, and we had such a great response. But from that, we have created this membership series for our BYP members. So you can certainly join us, sign up for our emails to find out about the events coming up, to just see about the BYP. But there's also the membership, which has a lot of benefits. But some of the events for the BYP include sort of these experiences like this, these networking opportunities, these pre-show receptions, which have been great. And have given an opportunity to a lot of these young professionals to build relationships with people in the community. Nick and I have spoken about this too. A lot of our BYP members now have been with it since its inception. And so we've become good friends through the BYP. We're supporting each other in each other's careers, as well as celebrating these milestones of, getting married and having a child and starting a new job. And it's been a great evolution and a great community that we've built.
So it's, often I think when people think about networking and getting involved with an organization for networking purposes, it often is driven, I think, by business networking. But what I hear you describing is really, sure, there's that, but it's also this sort of social networking and, opportunities to be engaged with a group of people who share perhaps some common interest, but you're also learning about new things with them, which I think is really interesting. Nick, how has the networking piece of BYP been beneficial or engaging for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it on the head, right? It really is expanding way beyond just the general networking where you go meet people and you share business cards, or you're talking work all the time and all this. But we've had people buying houses and getting married, having kids, all the different changes in life. It's really a mix of different stages in people's career, mix of backgrounds, and those relationships have expanded to where we socialize outside of the BYP events now at this point. And, it's a real connection. You go to a lot of these events and there's nothing wrong with them, but this is just definitely a different, more engaging way of kind of, meeting people and having fun, but also with a common interest of the theater and the Bushnell. So it's really, really cool. It's tough to describe. It's one of those things you kind of have to see and be there, but it's been really fun.
Well, and it as we look and we see these pictures, this one here was from the very first BYP fundraiser at the Dirt Salon. It is doing all those things and helping support the arts, helping support our community, because so much of what the Bushnell does is more than what's on our stage. It is what we engage with in the community. So, when I look at these photos and remember that super fun, as we were talking earlier, hot night at the Dirt Salon, I think that must also be a pretty compelling piece of this. Patrick, can you tell us a little bit more about the ways BYP, the work of BYP, the engagement through events and membership helps support the Bushnell?
Sure. Yeah. So, obviously the BYP fundraiser is our major fundraising event that is coordinated and put together by our BYP advisory committee, which is this really strong group of BYP members who, help plan out the whole year for all of our events, but also help us significantly on this fundraiser, which supports our arts and education programs in the community. And the advisory committee has done an incredible job with bringing in silent auction items and making this fundraiser such a fun and unique experience that really is sort of geared to that younger demographic, so that's been a fun experience. In addition to that, some of the things that we have, as I was mentioning before, we have our pre-show receptions, which I love because not only is it a networking opportunity, but a lot of these people are catching up with each other or meeting each other. And then also having that opportunity to sort of share their experience about the show. So generally these seats, when you purchase your ticket, it includes that pre-show reception. Sometimes that's a discounted ticket, but we'll all sit together. So that way during intermission, we can have a cocktail or a soda and sort of continue the conversation of like, are you enjoying this? Like, what do you think about this? And even having that conversation after the show. So that element is really enjoyable for me. And I think in addition to that, with our cocktails and conversations, our networking event, that's another great opportunity for people to really build those relationships. And at those events, we usually have some live performance, which is great, but it's a more intimate experience and an opportunity for really people to spend that time to talk to each other and even to give each other advice, since a lot of people are in that same demographic who might be, established in their career, but as a young professional, they're looking to get to that next level. And I think being able to have that conversation with other people who are in a similar situation is incredibly beneficial and powerful.
And the cocktails and conversation, am I correct in remembering those are often held in restaurants in the community, so not necessarily at the Bushnell?
Yeah, so we're lucky, as the Bushnell to have, trade partners in the community, these incredible restaurants who not only support us and we support them. So they allow us to host these events, at these restaurants, and they cover, a majority of the costs. So that way we can really have this unique experience for our BYP members and potential BYP members, or people who just want to get more involved in the community. And they're really so much fun.
And I think just as a quick shout out, a quick aside, but on topic, and I think germane to where we are today, as we think about those amazing trade restaurants that you mentioned, and we have so many restaurants in downtown Hartford who have been incredible friends of the Bushnell and friends of the BYP program specifically, that right now we just want to give a shout out to those restaurants and encourage folks to venture downtown and check out the outside dining at TK, Trumbull Kitchen, and Agave, and Salute, and so many others. I couldn't name them all here, or we'd have a whole nother episode of From the Wings about the fantastic things to do in downtown Hartford, and maybe that is a future episode. But yes, so sorry, just you made me think of that, and I did want to
thank you for saying that too. I think it's so important.
It is indeed. So when I think about BYP, a question that would come to my mind is, if I didn't work at the Bushnell, is, okay, I want to find out about it. Do I have to join right away, or what's the process? How does that work? How can I get to know more about BYP, experience it, to decide if it's something I want to become a member of?
Yeah, so the first thing I would suggest is sign up for our email list. Like, no matter what, at least you know what's going on and you can join us for events. So you can go to bushnell.org/BYP. And also you'll see my email on the slide as well. So plangevin@bushnell.org. So you can certainly email me and I can put you on that email list or answer any questions that you have about the Bushnell Young Professionals BYP initiative. And that webpage also has a breakdown of the membership levels. So if you are someone who might be interested in making a donation to the organization, in exchange, we offer a great deal of member benefits. So advanced ticket offers, drink tickets, invitations to special pre-show events. There's just so much going on, and it's our way of sort of saying thank you to our donors. So you can always become a member, but you can certainly just get our emails and come to some of our events to see if you want to get more involved.
And Nick, when we often will gather before we do these episodes a day or two prior, and when we did that, Nick brought up something really interesting that I'd love for you to say again here, Nick, regarding it is a donation. You are part of the annual fund, and the importance you think that has.
Yeah, one of the things that I didn't know was how involved and engaged in the community the Bushnell is, right? The Bushnell really realizes that it's an important part of Hartford and Greater Hartford in the area, but it also gives back in ways of saying thank you for supporting us for so long. One of the slides there were a bunch of iPads that for our fundraiser, the money that we were raising was going toward the arts and education program, and part of that was facilitating iPads to schools in the area. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those, it covers a lot of things. So you enjoy yourself going to the shows, you have fun meeting new people, and you also get to give back to your local community and actually see physically what happens. It's not just like you've raised money and then it all disappears. You actually get to see it firsthand, which is very, very cool.
Yeah, and when I think back to that night, I think back, it was last October, or the beginning of November. I think it was November 1st, 2019, and we didn't know what today was going to look like on that night. But the money that BYP raised to enable the Bushnell to purchase additional iPads, it was prescient. We found in these months that we've been closed, we've played an important role in our community, specifically in some specific communities, providing music education in that virtual learning space. And these iPads are key to that, developing our ability to deliver arts education in that way has been pivotal here. And we did not know that on November 1st, but I'm sure I speak for the whole organization and also for our education department when I thank the BYP for raising those funds, because it's such an important part today of who we are. So well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well done, y'all. So tell me a little bit, you guys, and maybe Patrick, if you want to open this up, about the future of BYP. What are you imagining is next? I recognize what's next immediately, maybe one thing, and what's next when we're all free to be back together is another. But I'd love to hear what you have in store.
Sure. Yeah, no, we are excited, in a situation like this. Yes, it's difficult for the Bushnell with its doors closed, but our BYP advisory committee has been incredibly creative with coming up with some opportunities for our BYP members and young professionals in the community to get engaged. We actually have next week, for anyone who's interested, we have a picnic in the park. So the Bushnell is helping to sponsor an event with Bushnell Park, the Bushnell Park Foundation, and the Hartford Chamber. So it will be music and a picnic experience supporting Hartford restaurants. So we're looking forward to that. That's next Thursday.
Where can people go to get more information on that, Patrick?
Yeah, so you can always follow We Hartford. So you could go to wehartford.com/picnic in the park. It's also, you can find it on Eventbrite /picnic in the park.
And I think we've shared it on our Facebook feed as well. So if you go to the Bushnell's Facebook page, I think I'm fairly confident it's there too.
Yeah, so along with that, we are planning a couple different events throughout the season. So some of them will be virtual and some of them we hope will be in person as well. So, but thinking long term, again, our advisory committee, we're really having these discussions about, how we want to see BYP evolve. We've evolved as BYP members, and we want to bring in additional BYP members and find ways to have even a stronger impact, both in the community and at the Bushnell as well.
Terrific. Nick, what would you say if you could name one thing, and this is a surprise question, what would you say is the thing you're most looking forward to about BYP being reanimated in person?
Besides actually seeing people in person?
Yes. I think we're all desperate for that.
They're
right?
staring at my screen. Yeah. I was just gonna, when we get back to normal, what a general experience looks like at the BYP, for the BYP event, for a show, I think is really cool to kind of see, right? So a lot of times we'll have a pre-show cocktail hour, and we'll have appetizers, and we'll all meet either at the Bushnell or somewhere local. And that's really where we're doing, we're going as a group, but we're also just catching up, socializing, meeting new people, and doing something as a full group. So we all get together, we have a couple of drinks, have some food, and then we all head to the show together, just like Patrick was saying. So it really is not just a show, it's a whole experience. And then usually at an intermission, we'll meet up again. And sometimes we go out for drinks afterwards, after the show. So it really is it's like a nice fun night out. That's the general, kind of scheme of things. But yes, we're getting creative now for sure to try to still see people and keep in touch.
Yeah. I've said this to a few people in these past few days. I think that when I'm back in the theater with other humans, sitting in a seat, waiting for the show to start, I might cry because I'm so ready to be back.
I can't wait to feel that energy of, being in a theater and to see live performance and to share that, to have that shared experience with everyone else in the theater.
Absolutely. So I have one final question, and then our time together has kind of come to its close. But my final question is, Nick, if somebody's watching this today and they're on the fence, like, oh, what do I want to get involved? I don't know. What would your advice to them be?
Do it. Just do it. No, the easiest way is similar to how I started. The best way is to join the newsletter, so you can hear about the upcoming events. You can kind of get a preview there just to see, whether it's a show where we have a block of tickets that you get discounted tickets to, or we're doing a pre-show event, or we're doing something. We've even done, Patrick, I think we did croquet one time.
Yeah, at the Hellstead.
It was like wine and croquet. Yeah, it's just really fun. It doesn't have to be this, this super ordered thing. It's just a casual night out and have some good laughs and have some fun with some people. So the newsletter is the easiest way to start to just kind of get a flair for what that is, and then come and join and see what we're all about. And there's no pressure to have to be a member or to donate. We're just, looking to meet new people.
Just do it.
Just do it.
I'm going to walk away with that today. Just do it. Well, what I know is we're going to be back. And when we're back, the BYP is going to be there and ready to plug in and be engaged and continue both the work you do on behalf of the Bushnell and the community you're building among yourselves. So thank you, gentlemen, both of you, for joining me today. Nick, so great to have you with us. Patrick, always a pleasure to have time with you. So thank you guys very much. Thanks. And thank you for joining us. We hope you'll watch again in 2 weeks when our special guest is David Fay, the Bushnell's president and CEO. I know how much he's looking forward to having the chance to speak to all of you about where the Bushnell is today and what he is focusing on as we eagerly anticipate our return to the building. Before we go, it's just a reminder to stay up to date on all things Bushnell. Please join our e-club at bushnell.org/e-club. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And that information was just on your screen. You can always just go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to Twitter, and search for the Bushnell, and you'll find us there. And finally, whether you become a BYP member, you give to our annual fund, you subscribe, or you do all of the above, your continued support is essential to our ability to continue the work, to be here and ready when the time is right and safe to open. If you'd like to make a gift today, you can do so by visiting us at bushnell.org/donate now. Again, thank you. I look forward to seeing you on September 10th for our discussion with David Fay, again, our president and CEO. But until then, take good care, and we'll see you soon.